From the lush green lands to the cascading waterfalls, wonders of the world, the oldest habitat of territories on Earth, a rich cultural heritage, a continent of 1.1 billion people, second largest and most populous, a continent pregnant with possibilities, home to 30% of Earth's mineral resources, 50% of its people under 25 years. Africa, the land of the great. Our spirit resilient. Our enterprise profitable. Our future inspiring. Africa is inspiring. Be inspired.
There are countless unsung heroes, or should I say sheroes, women that each and every one of us can look to and say, well, that's the neighbor down the street. She did excellent things in this sphere. We have this auntie that we know. My teacher was somebody, that really contributed to a lot of adults today, their childhood and their educational development. People that you call grandma, people that you call mom. These unsung women who were at the forefront of development at one time or another in Nigeria. So what is it that all of these women that I mentioned, and some of them that I haven't mentioned, what do they have in common? What did they have in common? Well, one thing is for sure that they didn't have positions. They weren't minister of this or VP of that. They didn't have positions, which are not bad in and of themselves. Those are life-affirming in many ways, inspirational, and very critical that women do hold certain positions. But what they had was a bit more important. It was a sense of who they are and what they were called to do. I can't underscore that enough, that a position or a title does not necessarily guarantee impact or success. What does guarantee impact or success is purpose. It's passion. And it's clear to see that these women that I talked about, Funmilayo Ransome Kuti, the Gambo Suwaba, had passion. Another thing that they had is a knowledge that they cannot or could not afford to fail. It was such a limited space in terms of, who was going to sit at the table in negotiating Nigeria's independence, that they couldn't afford to fail. They had to go out there and give it their best shot. And sometimes that meant, sitting around with key decision makers who happen to be male, and sometimes in other persuasions it was knocking door to door and educating people, sitting down and helping people learn how to read. I remember interviewing Janet Mokelu's son, who said his mother, first and foremost, she was an activist, but she really had a passion for seeing people literate and empowered through literacy and education. It's not only exciting in Nigeria, but it's exciting around the globe right now. We have Angela Merkel, who has been holding down the fort in Germany for several years. Theresa May was just made the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, the second female Prime Minister, I might add. And we know that Hillary Rodham Clinton just clinched the presidential nomination for the Democratic Party to be nominated as to run for election for presidency. It's an exciting time. I mean, unbelievably exciting. And of course, we're looking at a possibility of having the first UN Secretary General being a woman. There are a couple of people vying for that position. But that's all about leadership, political leadership at that. Very important to development, but not inclusive or exclusive. It's not the whole picture is what I'm trying to say. Let's go ahead and bring it back to Africa, still looking at leadership. We have in Liberia, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who has been president for nearly 10 years, I believe, and she's the continent's first female president. We also have in Sudan a woman who ran for president named Fatima Abdel Mahmoud. We also have in Kenya, Charity Ngilu, who ran in 1997. I was privileged to have met her as a young, person looking at development. And then, of course, we've had about 3 women prominently run for presidency in Nigeria. Mrs. Obasanjo, Moju Bolanle Obasanjo, I believe her first name is Sarah Jibril, and Professor Remy Sonaya, who have all run for presidential election. So who's next? Who's to say who is next? We still got 2019 looming quickly around the corner, and it's anybody's game really, male, female, it doesn't matter what part of the country, because people have kind of lifted the bar in terms of what can, who can actually throw their hat into the ring.